Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about the mini-series Mata Hari. So before I do head into my thoughts and feelings on this 12-episode mini-series Mata Hari, I'm not particularly going to have like spoilers necessarily, but this is based off of a real historical figure, and I do not consider history a spoiler. So if you just don't want any sort of spoilers in general, even though a lot of it is like historical fact and whatnot, you might want to just stay clear of this video until maybe you watch the series or whatever, or do more information or look up on your own. But yeah, I'm not particularly going to delve into particular plot points, within the show itself. But yeah, once again, I don't consider history spoilers, just to warn you. So yeah, you guys, I discovered another Russian TV series recently. A little while back, I reviewed the Russian TV series Detective Anna for you guys, and which I discovered that show on a YouTube channel called Star Media EN. That's where I discovered it. I was able to watch the whole show for free. So on that same channel, Star Media EN, I also discovered this mini-series called Mata Hari, just 12 episodes, released back in 2016. And yeah, even though it was released in 2016, it's like I still kind of fell in love with this mini-series and I wanted to share it with you guys. And yeah, especially since it is for free on YouTube, maybe to kind of give you a bit more incentive to go check it out if this is your sort of thing and whatnot. Let me tell you about what Mata Hari is about. It's essentially about the rise and fall of the sex icon known as Mata Hari during the early 20th century. And the big thing that you got to know about Mata Hari, she was executed in 1917 for being a German spy. Ooh, that kind of got me right there from the get-go when I was reading the plot synopsis for the show. I was like, ooh. The weird thing is, I am familiar with the name of Mata Hari through, like, name. Like, I kind of always knew that Mata Hari was, like, an exotic dancer, a courtesan, a prostitute almost, I kind of knew about that in the back of my head. I knew about Mata Hari through name only. The thing is, though, I had no idea about her life, and then I think I kind of vaguely knew about the part about her being framed for being like a spy for Germany and whatnot, and she was executed. It's like I kind of had little small details like that, but I knew absolutely nothing else, which I liked. I liked kind of not knowing too terribly much, and you're kind of going into the show not sure what to fully expect. But yeah, as I was watching the show, I did definitely do some further research as I was progressing, because I was very curious, okay, what is fact and what is fiction? And I'm definitely going to kind of get into some of that, because this show definitely takes massive liberties. And we'll talk about the nature of liberties with a show like this. But yeah, just to give you some of the real history before I do dive into my thoughts on this mini-series really quickly. Some of the real history. Once again, like I said, I'm no expert when it comes to Mata Hari. This is just very quick research that I did. So if something is wrong here, that's my mistake. I do apologize. But yeah, the real history, Mata Hari, before she was Mata Hari, she was known as Marguerite Zell. She was actually born in the Netherlands. She married a Dutch army captain. They had 2 children, one of which died early. They eventually divorced. And by about 1903, 1904, something like that, she started rising to prominence, going under the name of Mata Hari. And her big thing is that she became an exotic dancer, posing as a Javanese princess, and dancing traditional Indian dances, pretty much. That was kind of her big thing, her shtick, if you will. So yeah, she wasn't really Javanese, and she wasn't like Indian, she wasn't any of that. Like I said, she was born in the Netherlands. She was a straight out white woman. But yeah, that was kind of her thing. She posed as like this person who was very exotic, And then, yeah, the big thing, as I kind of mentioned at the top of this video, the big thing that happened to her, she was executed by firing squad in 1917 as a German spy for the French during World War I. So this woman, this real-life historical woman, wow, I mean, she led an incredible life. Just her very humble beginnings and kind of the tragedy of her marriage, and but then, yes, she rises and becomes this exotic dancer, essentially, and becomes wealthy and famous and popular. I mean, and she is with some of the big people of kind of this period, you know, especially during World War One. I think some of the research I was doing, like, she had maybe some sort of affair with, like, even Kaiser Wilhelm's son and whatnot. You know, there's a lot of history with this woman that this miniseries doesn't even go into. But yes, she lived this incredible life only to be executed in 1917. I think she was 41 years old. I think the research that I did said she was 41 years old when she died. And the thing is, the show takes the route that she was indeed a spy, that she was a German spy. The show definitely takes that route. But like the real history, my understanding of the real history is that no one is quite sure if she was indeed a German spy, or if she was just a scapegoat. You know what I mean? There's really like no like total firm evidence, I guess, as to my understanding. And like she went to her death saying that she was not a spy. You know, she like never really totally confessed that she was a spy, is my understanding. So yeah, the show, definitely the big historic liberty that the show takes is like, it definitely plays with, she was a spy. And she was like a double agent. You know, the show definitely plays with that she's like a double agent. I feel like she was like a triple agent at some point there. It got a little overwhelming and confusing for me at some point during the miniseries because she was on so many sides with so many people, and I was like, wait, hold up, I'm trying to focus here. But yeah, sounds incredible, doesn't it? I really love the story of this woman. It's just really captivating and fascinating, you know, the real history. And so yeah, kind of going into the show here, I'm going to start heading into my thoughts and feelings on the show. Like I mentioned, it is a 12-part mini-series event, if you will. It is a Russian production, actually. But like an international cast, it's that sort of thing. Because like all of the technical sides of the production, you know, like the people writing the show, directing the show, producing the show, people doing costuming and locations, you know, like all that stuff, all the technical details when it comes to a production, all of that is Russian people making the show. But as I just mentioned, it is a very large international cast. Because I do think that, I want to say the actress playing Matahari, she is Dutch. She's either Dutch or French. I can't remember what my research, if the actress was Dutch or French. But yeah, there's a huge international cast. There's a couple Russian actors, there's a couple American actors, quite a number of French actors, because yeah, just the character of Matahari, you know, she travels around the globe, you know, doing performances with her dancing, and so she winds up with a lot of people, and the show cast people who were appropriate for like a country, you know, so it's a huge international cast, which I loved. And yeah, even though it is a Russian production, it's not in Russian. It is English dubbed. The whole miniseries is in English. The people who can speak English are speaking English, but then the actors who are like speaking, you know, their native tongue or whatever, it is English dubbed. And I know that may be concerning for some people because I know some people do not like English dubbing. And the English dubbing in this is not too bad, to be quite honest. Sometimes I didn't really notice it. Now, sometimes you can notice the lip syncing being off. That would be when you could tell there was English dubbing going on. The lip syncing would be off. But like the acting, the performances, like the voice acting was never distracting or terrible, because I was worried about that. I was worried about the voice acting being really, really terrible. Fortunately, the voice acting was very, very well done, I think. You know, despite the lip syncing being kind of off, but you're going to expect that with any sort of English dubbing. But yeah, you can definitely watch this it is entirely in English and whatnot if you need that sort of thing. And I'll mention it again, that way if you are interested in watching this, I discovered this on YouTube for free, you guys, on the YouTube channel Star Media, EN. I definitely recommend you checking it out if you want some free content. YouTube's putting it out there, why not watch it? So heading some more into the show and whatnot, I did really love this miniseries, you guys. It's not a perfect miniseries. I do think there are some flaws to it, but in general, I really found myself loving and enjoying this miniseries, and it was just different. Even though it takes place during World War One, you know, the concept of World War One is not nothing new or different. I'm very familiar with that, but it's the thing of this historical woman that I'm not familiar with at all, and her role in World War One. You know, that's what makes this miniseries worthwhile to watch. Is this one woman in this world, and you know, leading up to World War One and whatnot. And that's what makes this a must-watch, in my opinion, and what makes it kind of different, especially if you're not familiar with Mata Hari. But yeah, in general, I did love the show. I think it does have some pacing issues. One of my biggest issues with it was definitely the pacing, especially in the first half of the show, because the first half of the show is definitely building up kind of almost like this humble beginnings, essentially, of Mata Hari, who goes by Margaret. Her real name is Margaret. Margaret is very kind of shy and timid and kind of beaten down, you know, and she has this abusive husband and whatnot. And it's about her rise and her fall. And yeah, the first half, it really plays with, you know, her early life and how she does start gaining prominence as Mata Hari. And I do think some of the pacing there is a little strange, because it can be a little slow and boring sometimes. But then yeah, once you get to the second half of the show, and she is fully Mata Hari now, and she is a much more confident, strong, manipulative woman at this point, very seductive. The pacing now is a lot more rapid. It flows a lot better. There's a lot more of interest going on, a lot more interesting characters kind of entering her life and whatnot. So yeah, if you are kind of struggling with the first half, I recommend trying to make your way through it, because it definitely picks up immensely by the second half. But yeah, in general, I still appreciated every episode, you know. I think some of those early episodes I didn't particularly care for that much, but it's like in hindsight, you know, as you reach the end, it's like in hindsight, it's like, I understand those beginning episodes now and why they were needed and why those particular characters were needed. Because there were some characters, especially in the first couple episodes, I was like, why are these characters here? Why are they needed? You know? But once again, in hindsight, it's like, it all kind of makes more sense by the time you reach the ending and kind of the thematic messages going on with this show and whatnot. And yeah, just the nature of Margaret / Mata Hari, her character progress and whatnot. And for starters, this is an absolutely beautiful show, you guys. It's just so beautiful. The sets and locations. And there's something about it that feels very cinematic, you know, which I loved. You feel like you're almost watching a movie at times, because you do just have this really great, large scope of this world. And plus, I mean, it's set during World War One. You know, it's set before World War One and then during World War One, pretty much. So you need to kind of feel this cinematic scope almost, you know, because it was such a global event, it's such a big historical event, and you need to feel that this world is huge and Margaret's role in it is important, you know. So yeah, it is a very beautifully well done show. Wonderfully directed. The writing can be hit or miss, you know. Sometimes I feel like there's a bit cheesy writing in there, but sometimes I don't know if that was so much maybe some bad performances from the actors on that part. I don't know if it was the writing, but yeah, in general, just a really captivating, gorgeous to look at show. If you love historical shows, this is definitely going to appeal to you if you just love looking at beautiful things. So I'll head into some of the cast very quickly here. Like I said, we have a pretty large international cast here, and the most well-known names, like the ones that I was familiar with, for me anyway, if you're gonna recognize, like maybe John Corbett, he's an American actor. most people know him from My Big Fat Greek Wedding or whatever. He plays Margaret's husband for a couple episodes. And then the other big name is Rutger Hauer. You guys, I was like, man, Rutger Hauer's in this? That's awesome. He plays like a judge at some point. Once again, he's only in a couple episodes. And then even Gerard De Pardue, because he's like a very popular French actor, ain't he? Gerard De Pardue is in this for like literally like 2 scenes, you guys. And then Christopher Lambert is in here, which I think he's from like those really popular like Highlander movies and whatnot. I've never seen those. I just kind of know about him through name only. But yeah, it's like you have kind of that set of actors that are really only in a few episodes apiece, but it's like they're really trying to promote the show through them if you watch the trailers. But yeah, as Mata Hari, we have Vihina Jacante. I hope I pronounced her name correctly, you guys. Vihina Jacante, playing Margaret / Mata Hari, however you want to see her. This show really floated around her. Obviously, everything pivoted around this performance, and you had to believe this performance. You have to buy into it, or it doesn't work. If you don't like this actress, yeah, the show's going to fall apart for you, and you're not going to like it, and you're not going to sympathize with her, because you have to like her, you have to sympathize with her. But yeah, I've already kind of mentioned this kind of throughout the review. I love what Vihina Jacante does with this character of Mata Hari, because she does start off as shy and kind of humble and timid, and yes, she has this abusive relationship with her husband that, you know, kind of ends up in divorce at some point. She has a very estranged relationship with her daughter. And she lives in this world of powerful men, essentially. She lives in this wealth and power and powerful men, and she has to learn to grow. You know, that's kind of the big thing with her as a character. She has to learn to grow. She has to learn to thrive. She has to learn to seduce and manipulate. Because, yeah, at the start of this whole series, she can't really do that. She can't seduce and she can't manipulate. She has a really hard time doing it. It's something that's outside of her comfort zone, you know, that makes her uncomfortable in her own skin. And it's just incredible to watch this performance as she does start kind of way over here, is really timid and kind of not sure of herself, and then you kind of reach this point as you get to the middle and to the end that she is just a really strong, confident woman who has a certain degree of power and control, and she knows how to seduce and she knows how to manipulate, you know, and it makes her a great spy. Like I said, this show is suggesting that she was indeed a spy and whatnot. And she does. She uses that to her benefit to get close to very powerful, strong men, you know. And it's like that's how she thrives in this world, by cozying up to strong, powerful men, because in turn they give her wealth and privilege in a sense that she's able to use. So Vihina Jacante's performance was absolutely marvelous in my opinion. I think sometimes she would stumble every so often with her performance that would just seem a little odd. But for the most part, I mean, I think her performance was terrific, and it worked for me, and I definitely, I would have moments where I would totally sympathize with her and understand her, and then other moments I would be kind of frustrated, angry with her, you know, and I kind of liked that balance with her. And of course, there's just a crazy load of men in Mata Hari's life and whatnot. There's several very attractive male actors in this, you guys. I think one of my favorites was, let me look at his name so I can pronounce it. The actor, his name is Maxim Matveev. He played Vladimir Maslov, like a Russian captain and whatnot. He was definitely one of my favorite male characters in this, one of my favorite relationships that Mata Hari had. He was definitely a highlight. I just needed to shout him out because he was just brilliant. I loved him. I need to hunt down some other Russian TV and find him because he was great. I loved him. And before I do end this video, I do want to touch on very quickly, because I kind of meant to do this earlier and I never really totally touched on it. This is definitely the type of historical fiction that takes liberties, you guys, and it's very important that you know that as you head into this show. Like I said, for me personally, I wasn't familiar with Mata Hari and her life. I kind of just did research as I was going along with the show, and it was kind of only then that I would discover what was fact and what was fiction. So yeah, you do need to be aware that this show is very highly dramatized with the life of Mata Hari. There is definitely a lot of heavy fictional things that happen. There's definitely a lot of liberties taken. People that are in her life that she never crossed or met or anything, or if she did have interactions, like, it wasn't as big a deal as like it is in the show, you know. So you definitely need to know and be aware that this show definitely takes massive liberties, but it's all for entertainment, you know, which didn't bother me. It is all done for entertainment, and more than anything to really build up the character of Mata Hari, because certain relationships that she does have and certain interactions that she has, a lot of it is very dramatized and fictionalized for the most part, but it's all done for entertainment purposes and done to really support her growth as a character more than anything, and for you to understand why she starts the way that she does and why she ends the way that she does. You know, how do we get to this woman who was this sex icon, you know, how do we lead to all of a sudden she is framed and deemed a German spy, you know? So everything in here is very highly dramatized for that sole function of really developing her growth as a character and to get to how she gets to her end, you know. And I'm fine with that, you know, because that's what the show was doing, and I'm perfectly fine with that. And then, yeah, I mean, I did my own research, so it's like I know what the real history is, you know, so I can compare it, and I can appreciate it all for different reasons, you know, if that makes sense. I can appreciate this show for what it does, you know, even though a lot of it is very highly dramatized and fictionalized. So yeah, if you are someone who's very highly familiar with Mata Hari, there's probably going to be a lot of stuff in here that's going to nag at you and get under your skin and irritate you. But yeah, if you're just looking for something, you know, a story that you're not familiar with, about a woman that you might not be familiar with, I definitely recommend this, because you are definitely going to learn some things, and I think it's definitely going to provoke your interest in learning more, because it certainly did that for me, because I was like, man, I definitely want to learn more about this woman, because she's just utterly interesting. Her life and everything, and her end more than anything. So yeah, I think you definitely need to be aware of those liberties if you're a little concerned about that. It's either going to bug you or not, just kind of depending on you and how you view historical fiction, essentially. So you guys, that is it for my thoughts and feelings on Mata Hari. Like I mentioned, I know this show came out way back in 2016, and I don't think it's ever, seriously, I don't think it's ever aired over here in America. I think they intended it to air over here in America at some point, but it just never did. I don't know what happened. But yeah, like I said, it's on YouTube for free. You guys go check it out if you have any sort of interest in this. I definitely recommend it. It's very, very good. I loved it. Did I cry by the end? I think I might have cried by the end. I'm trying to think. I think that's always a good sign. If a show can make me cry by the end, I think it did its job. Especially if I have that emotional connection to a character. But yeah, I really loved this show. It was great. I would definitely watch it again at some point. I would definitely like to watch it again. Kind of knowing the direction it takes, I would love to see, you know, re-watch it and be like, oh, okay, this all makes a little bit more sense now. But yeah, you guys, has anybody else watched Mata Hari? If you have, I would love to have a conversation with you about it. And then, yeah, has this review provoked you into going to check out the series? Because it'd be great if other people watched it, because I think it's definitely worthwhile. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.